Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the British literatures and how the British literature start in India and whatever the configurations of British literature. So that about all these things we will discuss today. Why study British literature? So that our language came from England. Most of our language originated there. Okay, so that if we will tell about the official language English, which is in India, that is belongs to mostly England and the British people who have come to India and they ruled over here, so that they left the language for us as an official language. Our forefathers came from England. They were responsible for establishing our nations. We inherited the ideas of personal rights and government by consensus. We inherited the rich literary traditions, so that it is very popular that we know the English literatures and the British literature in India, so that we mostly respectful to the Britishers. They have left this language in here. Okay, and these are the points about five study British literature, so that let us get a focus on it. Okay, then beginning informations, so that there is two timing. We have already known about all these things, that there is a BC, which is called the before Christ, and there is AD, which is called the Anno Domini. Okay, and Anno Domini means that is the after the time of Jesus Christ, and before Christ means before the time of Jesus Christ. Okay, so that you just have to be take and remember to these 2 points, BC and AD, before Christ, and Anno Domini, 2 points in here. So that this is a very vital point of to remember all these ages in here, time periods of world, that is Anglo-Saxons, Middle Age, Renaissance, Restorations, Romantic period, Victorian period, modern world. So that these are the sub points. So we should have to be remember all these points because of to it's a way to it's a chronological order to remember all these points, so that if you will remember these points, it will be very easier to remember all the points which will be later, and all about the topics properly, so that it's a very vital point. We should have to be remember the years and the chronological order of the periods in here. Before and during the Anglo-Saxon period, the land known as Great Britain was invaded by four main groups. Okay, so that we just have to be remember four groups who invaded Great Britain. Okay, so that in 55 BC there is Romans. In 449 there is Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, which is very famous in English literatures. In each book, we will get some ideas about the Angles and Saxons and Jutes. And 793, there is the Vikings. Okay, and there is the Normans. Belongs to 1066. Okay, so that we just have to be remember these four groups. Okay, Romans, Angles, Saxons, Jutes, Vikings, and Normans. Okay, Raven, Raven. Okay, we just have to be remember like this: Raven, Raven, Romans, Anglo-Saxon, Jutes, Vikings, and Normans. The Roman Empire occupied the British islands, most of Europe, Asia Minor, the Middle East, and North Africa. They dominated most of the world. They argued that they fought out just wars only for fame. They were provoked. Okay, so that we got this point. Most you have seen to these areas. Okay, these areas has been occupied by the Roman Empire, and the Romans has a lots of powers of soldier army. Okay, so that they have a great army, great soldier, so that they have the power to defeat any kind of a kingdom and occupy that area. So that Romans were very it means that very powerful at that time, and they have occupied a lots of area. of our map. And Roman occupations of Britain. Roman conquerors arrived under the direction of Julius Caesar. Romans occupied Britain from 55 BC to 409 AD, so that it is a very long time, 55 BC to 409 AD. It's a long time of rolling in there. They had to defeat a group of Celts known as Britons. Okay, so that you should have to be remembered this. Romans defeated a group known as Britons. And that group name is Celts. Okay, or the Celts known as Britain. They have been defeated by our Romans at that time. The Celts were tall blonde warriors. Okay, so the Celts were tall blonde warriors. So that they are very tall in looking, in height. They painted their bodies blue for a more terrifying look in battle. Okay, so that they painted their body with different colors, looking very ferocious and like that. So that we have already watched Bahubali at the time. So that there is some of the tribals who are coming to occupy the land of Bahubali. So that there is you have seen that scene of that movie, that how terrifying they looks, okay, or how ferocious they are looking at that time. They wore their hair long and shaved all of their bodies except the head and the upper lip. Okay, so that they are fully shaving bodies. Okay, only the hair on their heads and nothing, and no hairs at that body. They saw spirits everywhere, did ritual dances and human sacrifice. So as per the tribals, they are following different kinds of ways of their life, very traditional life with some ritual dances, human sacrifices. Okay, so a lots of things. And there is a point you just have to remember about that: spirits everywhere. Okay, ghost. So the Celts put a strong resistance against Roman invaders. Arthur was the heroic Celtic leader. His deeds was developed into the legends of King Arthur, Britain's once and future king. Celt descendants still live in Cornwall, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and northwestern of France. Okay, just you have to remember all these things, and you just have to remember the name of King Arthur, a heroic Celtic leader. Okay, you just have to remember the name of Celtic leader and the place where the descendants of the Celts were living at Cornwall, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and northwestern of France. Okay, Roman improvements. While in charge, the provided armies and organizations to protect the land from invaders. So that, as that, our army of India, VSF, ITBP, lots of forts who are implemented in different kinds of lands of and LOC, where they are implemented in there to protect that area. So that the area which has been protected by the Romans, they have sent a lots of armies to there to protect or for the security of that area. Built 5,000 miles of stone roads. This had tremendous impact on trade. Okay, so we know that if there will be development of the road, there will be development of the transportations. So that they have been built 5,000 miles of stone roads, which is a tremendous impact on trading. And due to that road, there was a good trending in there. Built villas and great public baths. So that we know that the public bath is spawned now these days in our area. So that they have been built villas and great public baths. Built Hadrian's Wall. Okay, Hadrian's Wall was between the North Sea and the Atlantic. It was 73 miles long. It had back peaks and scots for 250 years. Okay, so you have seen this wall. It is like a boundary in here, which is called the Hadrian's Wall. And the Stonehenge. The invaders also found Stonehenge. Stonehenge was the Saxon's name for the famous mountain on the Salisbury plain, and the Henge part is Old English for hang. not earthwork. And Stonehenge, this was made of large sandstone blocks and smaller blue stone pillars. Okay, you have seen these stone statues in here, Stonehenge. It is located in southern England. Or you just have to be remembered the place where is the stones are located. No one really knows why it is arranged this way, or how the pillars were moved there. Okay, some pillars weigh up to 4 tons and were transported 240 miles from Wales. Historians believe it was used as the ceremonial gathering place. Okay, so that we know that we mostly gathered in a place where our local people are in there for any kind of a celebrations occasion at that time, or any kind of a ceremony at that time. So that Henge is the place where it is a ceremonial gathering. It means that lots of people who are coming to here for any kind of celebrations are there. And religion, Anglo-Saxons had warrior gods. Okay, so that Anglo-Saxon had the warrior gods. They believe in gods. They believe in, because at the time there is the most important vital point, that is warriors. Okay, so that they have to war at that time, and it is a very most important and a very vital point at that time, because warriors like this, because they have to occupy lots of land to be built their kingdom at there in there, so that they have to be worship in the time, and those are called mostly warrior gods are there. So that we can say it like that, the warrior the gods has been, or the religious has been started with the Anglo-Saxon at the time. It was a dark fatalistic religion. Odin was the god of death. He helped humans communicate with spirits and was associated with burial rites. We call Odin's Day Wednesday. Okay, so that the celebration day, so that as that we are celebrating a different kinds of day, as the Sunday with sun, the Monday with Lord Shiva. So that there is also the god Odin, who is the religious or the warrior gods of the Anglo-Saxons, and they mostly believed on him, and they worshipped. And the day of Odin's god is, that is the Wednesday, as we are celebrating as the Hindus lots of days. Okay, so that the next point, religions, the Thuner was the god of thunder and lightning. This was the same as the Norse god Thor. His sign was the hammer. We call Thor's day Thor a Thor's day. Okay, so that because we know that as in Indian or the Hinduism, we have believed in lots of god who belongs to nature, the sun, the moon, and the planetary things, or all the planets, stars. So we mostly worship at that time, and our ancestors also doing all these things. So like that, there is also a god called Thonar, and by the name of Thonar, they are worshipping to him at the day of that Thonar god is Thursday. Okay, Odin's Wednesday and Thonar's Thursday. The dragon was a personification of death, the devourer. Okay, so that as that we know that Yama is belongs to the death god, and in that time dragon is the personified with the death, the devourer at that time. Introduction of Christianity. Christianity was introduced during the Roman occupations. Okay, before Christianity, religious was pagan. Missionaries were sent from Rome by Pope George I, and were led by Augustine. Okay, so that this is about the introductions of the Christianity, and you just have to remember that Christianity was introduced during Roman occupation. So that and before Christianity, religion was pagan. Okay, so that pagan, after that Christianity, and you just have to be there is the Christianity after the Roman occupations. Okay, Augustine built a monastery and a cathedral at Canterbury in 601. He became the first Archbishop of Canterbury. This is the highest ranking cleric in England. Okay, so that Augustine was the Archbishop at that time, and that was the highest rank in there. Okay, and the effect of Christianity served as a unifying force. It produced a common faith and a common system of morality and right conduct. It linked England to Europe. Christianity monks copied ancient manuscripts to preserve classical text and Anglo-Saxon literature. Okay, so that these points are about after the effect of Christianity. What was the effects on Christianity? How the Christianity developed England in there? How the Christianity make a connection between Europe and England at that time? Monks and monasteries. Monasteries were centers of learning where monks wrote down works that had been passed on only by word of mouth for centuries. English gained respect as a written language. Okay, so that there is some monasteries at that time, there is some monks at that time. Okay, and there is some written language at that time for the proof also. And Roman departed because of problems at home. The Romans withdrew in 409 AD. They left Britain with no central government, and this made Britain vulnerable in invasion once again. Okay, so that Roman departed from England at in 409 AD. Okay, Anglo-Saxon invasion. Anglo-Saxons were from Germany. The Jutes who invaded also were from Denmark. Okay, Anglo-Saxons from Germany and Jutes who are from the Denmarks. The Anglo-Saxons were first invited to Britain by the king to help him fight Picts and Scots. So that the king of England who invited the Anglo-Saxons due to the Picts and Scots at that time. Angles and Saxons imposed language and warriors culture on the most on Britain. With them, they brought fierce loyalty and scopes at that time. Okay, so that Angles came to there because of the invitations, and they are permanently stayed at England at that time. Okay, scopes or bards. Scopes or bards were the storytellers of this time. Okay, we know that the synonyms of the poet is that the bard. Okay, they wrote a great battles and sang, spoke in public halls, usually storming halves. Writing poetry was important as fighting, hunting, farming, or loving. So that we can say that in the time of Anglo-Saxons, became a most important point, that is the writings of the story and writing of any kind of thing at the time. They emphasized that life is had and ends in death. Okay, so that it is we know it life is had because of we are letting go with our life. It's very hard to live in this era, and we know that our life ends with a death. Bats worked hard at writing poetry because this was the only way they could fight against death. The warriors in their tales would be famous after death. Okay, so that there is a lots of writer who are writing about the warriors at that time. Because of this, bats were given favors by the warriors and held in high regards. Okay, so that there is a lots of respect by the king to the bats at that time, because they are writing the poems about the warriors, about the wars. Okay, so that it is the most important as like as the fighting, hunting, farming, and loving. Okay, Anglo-Saxons life was hard. There were numerous disease at that time. Okay, so that there is no development of the medicals at the time, so that there is they have faced with a lots of disease. People were considered to be old at the age of 30 and grateful to have lived at long. Okay, so that we know that at this time we mostly expect of a life 60, but at that time, in the time of Anglo-Saxons, they are mostly believe at the age of 30 because of there is lots of disease where they are affected by at that time. Many women died in childbirth. Okay, so that there is no development of the medical, there is no development of the medicines at the time, so that the women mostly died because of the childbirth at that time. Okay, and most of the days they have died at that time. Anglo-Saxons England, at first this was not unified. Several areas had their own kings. They were often attacked by Danes. Danes were feared by king people who crossed the cold North Sea in dragon prowed boats in 8th and 9th century. Okay, so that Anglo-Saxons in England, they are also suffered by the Danes at that time. Okay, Danes are mostly belongs to the Denmarks. Okay, the Danes plundered and destroyed everything in their path. They eventually settled parts of northeast and central England. Anglo-Saxons had Danes fought against each other until 1066. Okay, so that then Danes were very powerful. It means that invaders at that time, and there is a long time of war between Anglo-Saxons and Danes in England. Okay, you have seen this board. These boats are the example of Viking boats of the Danes. Okay, King Alfred of Wessex. Okay, King Alfred of Wessex the Great was a strong warrior, brilliant scholar, founded English navy because of the Vikings, led the Anglo-Saxons against the Danes, united the people, and helped England become a nation, clarified and enforced laws, led the introduction of Latin, had Latin works translated into English. Okay, so that King Alfred of Wessex was a very powerful king at that time. Okay, key features of the Anglo-Saxon age: society was based on kinship of groups of related people, led by a strong chief. Okay, so that there is a society and there is a chief of that society. People fought wars, farmed, governed, and created fine crafts. Okay, so that there is a development of crafting, designing, farming, and governing bodies. Christianity slowly replaced the old religion and linked England to Europe. That Anglo-Saxons, they have helped to link with Europe from the old traditions to new traditions at that time. The Norman invasion 1066, William the Conqueror crossed the English Channel in 1066 and defeated the Anglo-Saxon armies at the Battle of Hastings. Okay, this is a very vital point because it is the time of after 1066. William the Conqueror crossed the England Channel in 1066 and defeated the Anglo-Saxon armies at the Battle of Hastings. So that we just have to be remember the name of war, that is the Battle of Hastings, which has been happened in 1066. This ended the Anglo-Saxon culture and proved to be one of the pivotal points in world history. Okay, so that it is a very pivotal point in the world history. It's all about the English literature, and in the next section we will discuss about what happened after the Norman invasion 1066, and we will discuss the timing after 1066 what happened with the England.